Do y'all have a memory of these cough drops?
Yes.
Um, y'all weren't probably in grade school at the same time I was, but I remember getting the little box of them
Yeah.
and being like, "Oh, I'm so sick. I've got a cough. I need some cough medicine." Well, you could eat these in class, but you couldn't eat candy in class. But they taste like candy. So I went, I had a cough. So I, but they don't come in a box anymore. They come in a bag. But do y'all remember what I'm talking about? It was like a white box and it was like
Yeah.
wax paper and they were in that. And but now they come in a bag and they're individually wrapped. So it's not the same, but still it's a memory that I have. And I wasn't sure if y'all may share that memory, knowing y'all weren't in grade school at the same time I was in grade school. But I'm going to try to avoid eating them because I don't know if I can talk and have one of those in my mouth.
What did your son's team win?
They lost on Friday and then won both games on Saturday.
Oh, good.
And that was after beating them the Tuesday before because they play each game, each team 7 times in the
Wow.
conference. And so they'll play them 4 times in one week and then 3 more times in different places in the season. I swear they play so many games. There's like maybe 60 something games in their season or something crazy like that.
Wow.
And that's not even including playoffs. I don't know how they do it.
Wow.
So it was like good times getting to watch him play again because of course I haven't really seen him play since he was in high school. Him being 3+ hours away from home, it's not as easy to just drive over there and see him like it is when he's playing in our hometown. So I've watched him on live streaming. We got to go there one weekend a couple weeks ago. So it just felt like home. Last year, he didn't play because he was a freshman and there were kids that were, started over him. So this is his first real college playing experience, and he's doing so good. And I mean, he's grown up at the ball field, and I've been right there with him. So it just feels like part of who I am to be at the baseball field. And I just sat there for a second and just took it all in, the whole thing, and was like, once this was a dream. Because of course, as a little boy, he dreamed of playing college baseball. And so you don't know if he's going to have the opportunity. So it was like, wow, little buddy's dreams coming true.
Good. Good.
And I can't talk about it anymore. I'll start crying. I get a little sentimental over my children. I'm certain if y'all have children, you can relate,
Yes.
Absolutely.
right? Me, take let's see, I got Miss Stella. Oh wait, we're on 4:08 a.m. Missed you last week, Miss Stella.
Circumstances didn't allow.
That's okay. I completely understand.
I'm using that video though.
Good. Well, I saw where 13 people had watched my video from Friday, and I was like, "Oh wow, that's big. That's not the most that's ever watched it, but that's pretty big for people to watch it. 13 different people, so or maybe it's my mom just showing off what her daughter's doing 13 times. I don't know. That's a possibility. I may do that kind of stuff too. So, all right. Well, let's get us started. Hopefully, you're warmed up. Even it's a little bit cooler today. over the weekend it was 90 something degrees. And then today it's what, in the 60s. So it's not as warm as it was on the weekend. But we got a little taste of summer and it was like, whoa, 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 whoa. Can we have a little bit of spring? I'm assuming that's kind of what the weather y'all have or in y'all's area. Miss Sharita, I have you on mute. I don't know if you can unmute. Uh, I have asked you to unmute. Does it pop? There you go.
Yes. Uh-huh.
All right. Miss Sharita, Patrick has Middle Georgia State College on his list of where to go to in the fall. And
Oh.
so don't be surprised if he goes there and suddenly I have programs in Eastman again.
Oh, wow. Goodness.
I told him wherever he goes, if it's in my area, it will suddenly be my new favorite place to do programs.
Oh, wow. Yes.
So that'd be cool to have him that close to home. But I've been wanting to tell you because I knew you'd be excited.
Yes.
Which I had told y'all one week because Miss Gwen is from Albany. That Albany State may offer him. And if he goes to Albany, that would be cool to get to meet all them in real person. Warming up our shoulders. And our spine. Remember, if you have any shoulder issues, to keep it small right here and simply pull and stretch your spine here instead of fully extending your arms. We always know that we have permission to modify to take care of ourselves. And we always want to listen to our bodies. I say that, and I'm not always really good at that. I'm probably better at pushing myself too much and not taking a break when I think I probably should take a break. To our ball and going side to side, taking it for a ride. Get to breathe. Make sure you're not holding your breath. Now for our hips, and this is when it gets complicated because we're shifting weight to one leg. So if necessary, have a chair. I like this wall right here. This table's not going anywhere. That chair wouldn't be good because it's on wheels. So we want to have something that'll help us be stable if we struggle a little bit having weight on one leg. But we place our heel forward and our hands back, paws in the middle, and toe back, hands forward. Remember when we put that toe back, it's at an angle. Like I think of it as a kickstand, not straight back, but back and at an angle. Still keeping the soft bend in our knees. Also keeping that upright posture, not leaning into these movements. Switch to the other leg and heel forward, hands back on this side. Back to center. Now we're going to shift weight from side to side. When we completely shift that weight, we lift and tap the opposite foot out, bring it back in. Again, keeping our hands within our frame. So we're staying upright, we're not leaning. So there may be a tendency to want to keep going, but we want to avoid that. Stay upright as we shift the weight.
This internet's doing funny things here. Sorry.
Oh no! Let me make sure that
I don't know what it's doing.
is it
It's mine.
oh, okay.
Undoubtedly, yeah.
Well, my office computer, I'm on my laptop now. My office computer turned off yesterday and it won't turn back on. So I
Oh,
think
dear.
that means I should just go home after I get finished with my classes. I'm taking it as a sign. But it stormed real bad here last night. So I wondered if that had anything to do with it.
Probably did.
I know we had a tornado warning text on our phone. All right, for our knees, we're tapping that foot out there, bringing it back, shifting the weight, lift, tap and punch. I'm not sure exactly where the tornado was. The warning came out of Jacksonville, so I don't know if that's just where the weather center is or what. That's just what my text said. Maybe it said move to Jacksonville and live at the beach. Maybe that I need to reread it. As much as that pollen affects me, this time of year when that sun gets warm, I just love being out in it. So I can't help but think about the beach. Shift and punch. Bring it back. Keeping both feet flat on the floor as you shift weight forward. We're not completely shifting weight. We're leaving some weight on that back foot and keeping that upright posture. I think shifting forward often makes me want to lean into the movement, especially when we're working on our advanced movements. And another key here is staying slow because it's so easy to get in a hurry. So sometimes you can pretend that you're in slow motion and you're not just pretending, you are, but just thinking about slow helps you slow down. Now for our ankles, shift weight to one leg and then heel toe on one foot. Shifting the weight and heel toe. back, shifting weight, and then big toe, little toe. So stretching those ankle joints helps with that tension and stiffness. That's really what all these warm-ups are for, is to help with flexibility, mobility, and relieving tension and stiffness from our joints. Now, trying not to be stove up is how we call it, right? Get stove up, especially when we sit around too much or we've been in a car so long, we get all stove up. So, all right. Are we ready for our basic 6 movements? So I'm going to do them facing forward and then I'm going to turn around. Y'all let me know if y'all find that easier to follow. Personally, I do, but I want y'all to know what's happening up front because when I turn around, you can't see my hands. In our commencement movement, our hands start at our sides, weights on both legs. We bring our hands up and then bring our hands down. And when we begin this movement, we're away from our body. But remember, we have that soft bend in our elbow. We're not locked out. We're soft out. So we come out or up, down, and then we come in, up, out, and back in. So that's what it looks like from the side. Our hands facing each other that whole time. Remember, we're trying to really make that connection between arm movement and weight shift. And so that happens in so many places. Here it happens twice. When we bring our hands down, we shift right. Place that left foot out. Remember, we have an empty step. We bring our hands in and up. Now we do it again. We shift left as they go out. So see, the weight went forward and the hands went forward. So that kind of matches. I think of it as like a matching game. Bring the other foot forward. Hands come back, open and close. So let's do those 2 movements several times. Commence, up, down, shift right, place the left, in, up, shift as they go out, right foot forward, hands come back, open and close. All right, without talking, commence. Open, close. So Nora asked on Friday if we could have a video that just did the movements over and over and over so you could just get really used to one movement at a time. And so I thought, well, I'll kind of replicate that in class where we just do commence. We're not going to do this for an hour, I promise. But we're doing it several times just to practice that one move and then, of course, open and close. I don't think we need to practice open and close a whole lot. Thankfully, we get a break in that open and close movement. So let's do it again and commence. Up, down, shift right, step left, shift, open, close. So that's mirror image. Let me turn around. Commence and open and close. So hands come up, down, shift right, the left foot, hands in and up, shift left as they go out, right foot forward, hands come back, open and close. Again, commence. The only thing about that movement is it is not balanced. So we don't do it on both sides. We just do it on that one side.
Jennifer, could you mute me again for a few minutes? Something to take you.
Yes, ma'am. Got you. All right. So there's our commencement move. So maybe that helped going over that one move several times. Now let's do single whip. we do single whip to the right first. We're coming from open and close, so our weight's on both legs. Our hands are here. We're going to shift left. We step out right, and then we push our hands out as we adjust the weight. And when I say adjust weight, I give weight to that right foot, but leave some weight left on this back foot. So I basically even out that weight. Adjust the weight means now I have weight on both feet. And I adjust the weight to that front foot as I push out. And there's another one of those moments that match hand movement and weight shift. I feel like if you can really practice the movement of hands and weight shift, then you start really experiencing the internal component of Tai Chi. So we have here, we shift left, step out right, adjust weight as we extend the hands. Now we turn the palms away from us and separate both hands, but our head and eyes follow that left hand. That's our single whip. So coming from open and close, single whip, shift left, step out right, adjust weight, turn and separate. The key on this movement outside of hand movement with weight shift is remembering to move both hands out, not just move the hand that you're looking at, because that out of sight, out of mind is real. It's easy to forget the one you're not looking at. But if you move both out, then you feel a different kind of stretch across your chest, right? So we want, if we're going to do it, we want the full experience of it. So again, open and close, single whip, shift, step, adjust, turn, and separate. There we go. All right. I'm going to turn around and show you single whip from the back. Remember, we're going to the right first. So when I'm facing forward, I'm doing mirror image. So we shift left, step right, adjust weight, turn and separate. Eyes follow the hand. Adding it to the top. Commence. Oh, yeah, that's right. Sometimes mirror image gets me all messed up. Open, close. Single whip right. Now, when you step out with that right foot for that single whip, you're not making a really big step. What you're doing is putting yourself in somewhat of a staggered stance. So the foot is just a little bit further up than the other. Now this stance right here, called a staggered stance, it's a very stable stance. So if you ever find yourself having to stand up for a long period of time, if you're in a line, if you're in a crowd of people, and maybe you have a fear that someone's going to bump into you and you don't have something to hold on to or brace yourself, put yourself in a staggered stance. Your feet are still about hip width or shoulder width apart. One foot's further up than the other. You have the slight bend in your knees. And then that's a stance that's stable, and it also absorbs impact. So if somebody bumps into you, then you can bend into a knee, into that leg by way of your knee. If they bump you from this side, you can bend forward into that knee. They bump you from this side, you can bend that back leg and absorb the impact. So this sets you up to be able to absorb impact and not be knocked down. That's that stable stance. And so, you know, when we set ourselves up to stand in it, that's what we're doing. We have to shift the weight to be able to lift and place the foot into the staggered stance. So that's, if you want to think about foot placement, it's not a big step forward. right? Nothing we do in Tai Chi is big. It's a small step forward into a staggered stance. So that gives you more information about our single whip. And we do single whip on both sides. We just do it to the right first. All right. Let's put them together again, and then we'll move to waving hands and clouds. And commence. Open, close. Single whip, shift, step, adjust, turn, and separate both hands. Shift, bring that right foot, right hand back. Now we're ready for waving hands and clouds. We step, switch our hands, turn, shift, step. There's our 4 words up here. Switch, turn, shift, step, switch, turn, shift, step, switch, turn, shift, step, switch, turn, shift, step, switch, turn. Now come back to the middle for open and close. Now, things to remember with waving hands and clouds is, again, we're not taking really big steps. We're going a little outside of shoulder width or hip width, shifting, and when we step, we're back at shoulder width or hip width. So they're really small steps. Okay, so we want to keep that in mind. We never do anything big. Everything is really small. The way I test myself, and when I really think about that weight shift, when I shift the weight, can I lift this foot up and bring it in, or am I thinking all the weight is shifted and then I'm kicking off with that foot? Really think about it. Test yourself. Do that, just the footwork of Tai Chi walking to the side. Make sure you're completely shifting the weight, and then your foot isn't so far out. Your foot's in a good place so that you can actually just pick it up and bring it in. You're not having to kick off the floor. I've caught myself kicking off the floor, but it's more of not completely shifting the weight, lifting in here. So that's kind of your test. Thinking, am I completely shifting and then lifting and placing down, not kicking off and then placing it down. It's real easy to create bad habits, and so we have to go back and just check ourselves. But these are our 4 things we're doing in waving hands and clouds. The step and the shift are the feet. The switch and the turn are the hands or the upper body. And so when we switch, we have one hand by our hip and the other hand is kind of cross body. I think of it like a sash. And then when we turn the direction of the hand that's on top, and then we switch here and turn. Switch and turn. Now, as I do this movement, I'm making sure that there is room in my armpits. My hands are away from my body so that my armpits are breathing, so that that energy can flow through that joint. So I'm not closed off. I'm out away from my body as I do that here. And so just like when we do our ball side to side as our spinal warm-up, where we stay within our frame, we stop at the edge of our body. Same thing here. We stop here. We don't go way over here. I mean, physically we're able to, but if you do that, then you feel a twisting of your spine. You may also feel it in your knee. So don't fall into that more is better. Stay within your frame, switch, stay within your frame. So that's that switch and turn of our waving hands and clap. So coming from single whip, our first waving hands and clouds, we bring our right foot, right hand back. Now we start step, switch, turn, shift, 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 step, switch, turn, and then the last comes back to center for open and close. Now we're ready for single whip and waving hands and clouds to the left. So just like we just did it to the right, now we're going this way. So we shift right, step left into that staggered stance, adjust as we push those hands out, turn and separate both hands, shift right, bring that left foot, left hand back, now waving hands and clouds, step, switch, turn, shift, 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 step, switch, turn, and back to the center for open, close, and close it out. Our basic 6. Any questions about those moves? Are you becoming more familiar with those and feeling better about them? Most often it has to do with practice. And so practicing it over and over, but coming to class and learning and being reminded of the pieces and parts is a good thing. So if you're able to practice outside of class, even if you just close your eyes and think about it, it helps you practice. So let's do it again. Basic 6. 6, not sick. Let's not get sick. All right, here we go. And commence. Open, close. Single whip. Waving hands and clouds.
So I like this one.
Open and close. Single whip left. Waving hands and clouds. Open, close. And close it out. Do you like me turned around? Is that easier for you to follow me? You say yeah?
Yes.
Okay. That's the way I like it. That's the way I like to follow it too. But, being able to see what we're supposed to be doing up front first is important because you can't see what's going on with my hands whenever I'm turned around. So we'll practice this several times. And then if y'all want to start moving on with our advanced six, then we can, which I know we've learned parts of it, but okay, we're on week 12. So after today, we have 4 more classes. And we'll come back to class in August. But for the summer, as you're practicing Tai Chi, I really want you to just feel really good about basic 6 to be able to practice that on your own. And, if we want to move more into the advanced movements, fine. But to have a good grasp on the basic 6 is important. All right, so here we go. Basic 6, part 1, and commence. Open, close. Single whip. Waving hands in clouds. Think about how easy it is to just kick off, because I still catch myself doing it. Catching ourselves doing something wrong, though, is good. That's learning, and that's how we can fix it, is being aware that we're doing it. We're not going to be perfect all the time. There's no perfect Tai Chi, but we know what our goals are.
Keep moving.
Keep moving. That's right. Open, close, and close it out. So I want you to be so familiar with these movements that you don't have to think about them too much. And what your thinking involved is in the movement, thinking through the movements, thinking slow, smooth, continuous. Okay. So slow, smooth, and continuous, making sure we're having that type of movement. When we first learn and when I try to demonstrate, I'm more choppy, like up, down, in, up, out, in, when we first learn it. And so we want to be past learning so that we can go continuous. So it's more like this. One fluid movement rather than those choppy pieces, right? So that's what we want to be thinking. Slow, smooth, and continuous, and not just up, down, in, up, out, in. We want it to flow. And it just feels better. It lends itself to our Tai Chi internal experience. All right, here we go. And commence. Thinking slow, smooth, and continuous. Single whip right. Waving hands in clouds. So see, even here, making it more smooth and continuous. So I'm stepping as I switch. And when I get to the end of that turn, I start making that shift. And then I forget to count. So I don't know if I'm on 5 or 6 or if I'm on 8. And that's okay. Open, close. Single whip. See, you can't do it all. That's why we want to focus on one thing at the time. But first, learning the movements. Because I can sit here and talk to y'all about anything, And my body can go through the movements because I know them so well. That's where we want to be. We want to know them and practice the principles. Open, close it out. So yes, thinking slow, smooth, continuous. Now I want you to just think about your body structure, about being upright posture, making sure I'm not pulling my shoulders forward, make sure I'm not leaning into any weight shifts, but keeping that good upright posture no matter what's happening with my arms or weight shift. So practice upright posture through our basic 6 movements. And commence. Single whip. Hands in clouds. Close. Single whip. Waving hands in clouds. Open, close it out. So, did you pay attention to your upright posture? Is there anything about your posture that you noticed? One thing I notice about myself is that anytime I bring my hands up and then down, I have a tendency to want to keep my shoulders up. Once I bring those hands up, I feel myself wanting to keep them up. But paying attention, having that body awareness reminds me not to keep those shoulders up. So I notice anytime I'm pushing my hands up in this area, I want to grab onto some tension here and keep them up. So I remind myself to let that go. It's just one of the gifts of Tai Chi is of body awareness. And so I don't just notice that in Tai Chi class, I notice it anytime I'm out in the world. I pay attention to my body. Am I holding tension anywhere? Do I have bad posture? Am I rolling my shoulders forward? Am I clenching my jaw? Am I clenching my hands? You know, I just pay attention to my body. I learn it in Tai Chi class, pay attention to it out there, and then I'm less likely to get pain that's associated with tension. Because we know if we roll our shoulders forward and hold that tension, we're going to get neck aches, headaches, backaches. If I hold tension in my jaw, I'm going to get a headache, a jaw ache, you know, I'm going to hurt. So letting go of tension, not just when we do our Tai Chi, but all the time. Okay? All right, let's do it again. And so I'm getting the point across to you that once we know our movements, we can practice these moves with our different principles. So we talked about slow, smooth, and continuous, the pace of our movements. We talked about upright posture, practicing that, focusing on that. Now I want us to just think about breathing. Are we breathing or are we holding our breath? You don't have to breathe at any certain time or associated with an up or a down. You may find that naturally happens, but just don't hold your breath. That's our goal. Okay, so let's do our movements again and not hold our breath. All right, here we go. And commence. Open, close. Single whip. Waving hands in clouds. Not holding our breath, continuing to breathe. Open, close. Single whip. Waving hands in clouds. Close. How was that? Thinking about breath. I can't tell you how many times in a day I catch myself holding my breath. It's usually because I'm busy doing something with my hands and I'll hold my breath. But again, body awareness, fix it. Whatever you catch yourself doing. Just then I caught myself kicking off in that waving hands in clouds, and that next step I regrouped and made sure that I didn't. Another principle is weight transfer. Of course, weight transfer is what we do with our legs, but that's what we do to get our leg muscles stronger. And so when we shift weight to one leg, that one leg is holding our weight, every bit of it. And then we got to move this leg or do something with this other leg the whole time while this one leg is holding our weight. And then in a minute, we'll switch the weight to that leg, and this leg will hold our weight. Because our movement is slow, then our weight is on one leg longer than if we were moving fast. And I know that's like big duh, Jennifer, like you're saying stuff that is just like, here's your sign, right? Jeff Foxworthy. But that's basic. That's the basis of Tai Chi, and why it works for falls prevention is because we go slow, because we slowly transfer weight and make our one leg hold our weight for an extended period of time while we do something with this other leg, helps it become a stable, strong muscle. And so that's why Tai Chi helps us with falls prevention. If our muscles are strong, we are less likely to fall. The key to weight transfer, or not the key, but one rule to stepping before the weight transfer is that we empty step. So we place the foot where we want it to be. We don't immediately give it weight, and then we do. And that's what we call an empty step. So think about that as we go through our basic 6 movements. When you place a foot, make sure it's empty, then give it weight. That's that empty step and the weight transfer. And because we do it slowly, our weight is having to stay on one leg really long. Now, that's why our legs get tired from doing Tai Chi. And if you ever need a break, sit down. Sit down. And if you want to engage the muscles still, push those feet into the floor. If you struggle with fear of falling, or maybe you don't have quite that strength yet, but you want to stand up. You don't want to sit down. All right, pretend I have my invisible chair. Hold your chair. Forget the hand movements and practice weight shifting behind the chair or behind something stable. You can hold the wall and shift weight. And then I have a wall I can kind of push into to help stabilize me. I'm shifting weight from one leg to the other, but I'm not even lifting my foot off the ground, but I am completely shifting the weight. So practicing weight shift with the comfort of something stable and with the comfort of not having to pick that foot up and do things with it is the start, so that eventually you'll get strong enough to lift and place that foot without that fear of falling. The more times you're successful, even holding a chair increases your confidence and hopefully lessens your fear. So what are we thinking about this time? Empty stepping before we transfer weight. And this is, again, one of our principles. All right, here we go. We are still having good posture. We are still going slow, smooth, continuous. We are still breathing. Now we're just simply focusing on empty step and weight transfer. All right, here we go. And commence. Open, close. Single whip. See, empty, then transfer the weight. Waving hands in clouds. Empty, then transfer the weight. Empty, then transfer the weight. So that gives you an idea of when that happens. As soon as you move that foot to a new spot, it does not have weight. It's empty. Open, close. Single whip. Open, close. Close up. Maybe you feel better about these movements than you did when class began because we've practiced them over and over. All right, let's do it again. Focusing on whichever principle you want to, or maybe you just want to focus on what movements are next. Follow me and commence.
Yeah.
Waving hands in clouds. Close. Single whip. Hands in clouds. Open, close, close it out. Did you catch yourself doing anything? Did you have body awareness and catch yourself doing something that you went, ooh, ooh, I caught myself kicking off again. I don't know what's wrong with me, but I'll just do that kicking off. And I need to pay better attention to that weight transfer on waving hands and clouds. All right, so let's do it one last time, then we'll cool down and call it a day. Next week, I'll make a note. We'll get to our advanced. But this will be good today to feel real good about our basic 6. And commence. Not going to kick off. I'm not going to kick off.
Mm. Mm.
I didn't kick off. Yay! Hopefully you saw that you were doing something and you were able to fix it. And to me, that's something to really celebrate, which sounds kind of crazy. Celebrate when you find yourself doing something wrong. But why is that so good? Because that means you know what's right. That means you have learned it to know how it's supposed to be done. You can't catch yourself doing something wrong if you don't know what's right. That's a good life lesson, isn't it? I'm going to tell that to my teenagers. I'm going to tell them how smart I am. Which Patrick's 20. He's not a teenager anymore, but he should be called something else because he's not quite an adult yet. Telling my legs, thank you for working so hard. Now let's gather tension, and we don't want to live this way. We want to be relaxed. Let that go. Gather and release. Gather and release. One more time. Gather tension and release. Big circle. Gather and feel your soul. Gather that sunshine and fill your soul with it. This is a really great move to practice breath, especially if you can sit down and do it because you don't have to worry about balance or falling. You can even close your eyes and inhale and exhale. You can move your arms at your own pace and match it with your breath. And it's just a calming experience. Meditation in motion. Sometimes Tai Chi is called that. And this to me is just that perfect movement for that. We have our right fist representing our strength, our left fingers together representing our friendship, our thumb in our humility. We put those together, and in mutual respect, we say namaste.
Okay.
Thank y'all so much. Sharita, it's so good to have you back. You're going to have to stop going on trips. Hold on, you're on mute. You have to unmute yourself. There you go.
All right. But this is who I left you for a minute to come see right here. She turns 88 years old today. Say hey to my Tai Chi instructor.
Hello,
Hey,
darling. I'm glad you're still in this world, and happy 88.
Wow. Happy birthday.
She did some with us for a little while. I had her doing it.
Very
Thank you.
good. Very good. Well, come and join us again. We'll do it next week, okay?
So
Okay.
join us again next week.
Okay, we'll do.
All right. Love y'all.
Bye.
All right.
Wait,
Love
I
you
should
too,
ask
Jennifer.
y'all, do y'all have any questions? Are y'all good?
Good.
Okay. Well, y'all know I'm available to y'all if you need me. Just let me know, okay?
Okay.
Loving that
All
hair,
right.
Jennifer. It is getting so long.
I love it too. I'm going to get it trimmed tomorrow. And I want more of these like piecey layers like in the top part. So it can look kind of rock and roll and wild.
You rocking it. You are. You're gonna look good doing the boots on the ground again.
Yeah, we'll do that on Friday.
Okay.
I'll try to be a professional until Friday, and then I'll just let it all out.
All right.
Love y'all.
Love you too.
All right,
Bye-bye.
bye.